All right. What's up, Internet? My name is Gray, like the color, and I'm the owner of Retro Exchange, known here in sunny Peoria, Arizona, on Whatnot, eBay, and other places, shortened as Rex. This is our introductory video to introduce who we are, who I am, why you should listen, care, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Let's start with this channel. What'll it be and what you should expect? We're planning on doing a series of tutorials here for the toy hobby collectible, from being a collector to having a business to having a side hustle. Whatever part in this you play, Rex is here to help you. We're going to talk about Whatnot, eBay, having a store, how that works and what that means, and other fun things like that. Here to start, though, we also have a special series called Rex Knows What's Awesome, where we're going to talk about various IPs, parts of the collecting and hobby from a business standpoint to a collector and fan, and all things about geekdom in between. So for these Rex Knows What's Awesome shorts, I'm going to start with myself and explain why you should care, give us that subscription, and follow what we have to say. So like I said, my name is Gray, like the color. I have 2 master's degrees, one in history where I focused on pop culture. Yeah, that's a thing, but there's no jobs for it. And then secondly, in business administration. So, I've had a little bit of college behind me. I've basically been in this business since I was a kid. I started when I was 15 years old. My father was military and we lived on base housing, and that meant yard sales. If you're confused about how those two things relate to each other, let me explain. When you're in the military, families oftentimes get orders and they have to move a lot. You might stay 2, 3, 4 years in a place and go live somewhere else. And a lot of times you had a limit on what you could take, and base housing yard sales, at least in the 80s, were crazy. Every weekend, just loads and loads of yard sales, and my family was included in that. And as a very young, toy-passionate kid, I saw that me and my brother's toys always sold first. They went before the housewares, they went before the clothes, the toys were gone like that. And so I would mow lawns and babysit and hustle and do whatever I could do for extra money. And I would ride my bike, I even had a little trailer on it, to all the different yard sales in the area, and I would buy their toys, because you see, I was kind of an OCD kid. All my G.I. Joes went in a little Ziploc bag with their guns and weapons and whatnot. I kept my stuff organized. I paid attention to what went with what, so I could buy somebody's whole box or bag of Ninja Turtles, and I knew what went with who. I would break them down in bags and resell them at my yard sale if they were figures I already had. A toy dealer was born all those many years ago. And then you fast forward a little bit into the 90s, and I was in high school, and I started a summer job with a store in Glendale, Arizona called Pop Culture Classics, where I met and studied under my master sensei. He very, very much was good at doing this. His store was incredible. People would trade things in and buy cards and action figures and comic books, and he taught me everything I needed to start doing it on my own. I used to do little toy shows. There used to be tons of toy shows in malls and fairgrounds and places like that. And it was great. I would always be smart and save my money and buy whole collections, keep the stuff that I wanted for myself, and then resell the extras, again, after sorting all that stuff. Obviously, this was before the internet. But when eBay came, that was a massive game changer, because you didn't have to wait for months for the next toy show. It was slow still back then. We used to have to take Polaroid pictures and scan them in and email them to each other. There were other classified ads you could use on the internet to buy, sell, and trade stuff. And I've been doing it ever since. I opened my first store in 2012 called G.I. Joe vs. Transformers. It was in a mall called the Arizona Collectors Marketplace. That store still exists here in Phoenix, Arizona, but it's no longer a mall like it was when it started. And then I bought a comic book chain called Pop Culture Paradise that had 2 locations. That put my empire to 3 different stores. Then I started producing special events like Arizona Game On Expo, which still exists under other ownership. Arizona Icon, a toy and popular culture convention, which still exists, called AZ ToyCon under other ownership. And we started just rocking and rolling with this huge toy thing. Now, the comic book store purchase turned out to be a mistake. It was sold to me under dishonest circumstances, and we lost it, right? So that was okay. I went back to school, got that second master's. But then COVID hit in 2020. The professional marketplace had changed. There weren't so many jobs. A lot of stuff went remote, and I was struggling. So I found myself back side hustling toys on eBay and in toy shows and stuff like that. And then, I just started thinking, like, I have the business masters. I've been doing this for 20 years. What if I just tried again? What if we made the coolest, funnest, most interesting toy and collectible show, card game experience that one could possibly say? Now, I'm not saying we've done that yet, but if our Whatnot followers and our people in store are to be believed, we're at least on the right track. So let's talk about Rex a little bit. Retro Exchange. Naming a business these days is difficult. I always want to name something that sticks, a web address you can own, etc. So I knew the word exchange, right? I wanted it to have a connotation of trading and people coming in and doing things. So I landed on Retro Exchange. I instantly had this black and white checkerboard, bright pink, bright teal idea. And I knew I wanted to be funky and retro and vintage. So we started plans for opening our new store, Retro Exchange, or Rex. And the reason the Rex thing happened is when we were first starting to collect inventory and get ready for the store, I noticed I started abbreviating on the boxes. Retro Exchange shortens to Rex. And I came in, I had a couple helpers at the time. I was like, guys, it shortens to Rex. How cool would that be? And we had this whole conversation. Now, I want to pause for a second and assure you that this part is completely true. My wife has a saying, if something's meant to be, then it will be easy. And I feel like the gods of geekdom, the Gene Roddenberry and the J.R.R. Tolkien were shining down on us because me and my friends and helpers had a conversation. How cool would it be if we had a mascot for Rex that was like an action figure robot Tyrannosaurus Rex? And then I was like, yeah, and he could be really bright and funky in purple and teal. The next day, after that conversation, my son and I are out Goodwill hunting. Again, we're collecting inventory to open a store. And we find a plush, purple and teal T-Rex. There he is. That's Rex, ladies and gentlemen. It's not this one specifically. It's a huge one. But come to find out, this was made in 2008. They made different sizes. They're for like fairs and carnivals and stuff. But there he is. So then we commissioned a Disney artist to take that and paint it into our Rex logo that you see everywhere, our big pink dinosaur. And there we go. Rex was born. So we opened in May of 2021 to a line around the building. People knew me from G.I. Joe vs. Transformers, or GVT. People knew me from pop culture and all the toy shows from back in the day. And Rex has been a pretty big hit ever since. So that's just a quick kind of history of where we come from. Couple of college degrees, almost 30 years in the business. We're on eBay, we're on Whatnot, we're on Facebook, Instagram, all those places. So hopefully that gives you enough of a reason to listen to what we have to say. Like, subscribe, follow, all that stuff. Stay tuned for Rex Knows What's Awesome. And here we go. Thank you, congratulations, and enjoy.